Welcome this afternoon, everyone, to the Giving Tuesday Nonprofit Toolkit and Activation Tips. We are joined here with Sarah Bonney, the Chief Marketing Officer at the Community Foundation of Greater Des Moines. And so, Sarah, do you maybe just want to share with us a little bit overview of what we're going to cover today, and then we can kind of get into things. And Barb, if you want to take us through to the next slide. Just want to talk through, Sarah, a few of the things people will experience today.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Brian, for that introduction. And thank you all for joining us on a beautiful day. Appreciate your time. We are going to talk today about about Giving Tuesday Now, which is a new initiative that's being launched nationwide. And we've been fortunate enough to receive some assistance here at the Community Foundation to put together a toolkit for our nonprofits across the community to use and make it really simple for you to participate in this day of giving. So we're excited to share more and walk you through how to use those tools, and would encourage you to share this with colleagues, others in your network. We want to build momentum around this day of giving. And so we appreciate you being here today to learn more. One additional housekeeping thing, I do have a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old, and I don't know about those of you who also have children at home, but they have like this Zoom sixth sense. So I think I have them out of the room, but they have a tendency to come running through. So I apologize for that in advance if they make a surprise appearance. I also want to thank each of you for what you're doing for our community and the ways that you're really lifting up the stories of your organizations right now. I have never been prouder to work in the nonprofit sector as I watch the good work that you're doing. So thank you so much for that. And we look forward to being able to support you in this small way as you continue to build momentum. So with that, Barb, if you would not mind advancing to the next slide. Great. So many of you are familiar with Giving Tuesday. It's traditionally the Tuesday after Thanksgiving, and it was developed in 2012 as a way to build momentum around charitable giving during the holiday season. We know the power that comes from encouraging people to give and from the power of charitable giving, and Giving Tuesday is a really nice reflection of that. So as our community and our world faces the challenges of the COVID-19 pandemic, the Giving Tuesday organization decided to establish Giving Tuesday Now, which will take place on Tuesday, May 5th, as a way to build community support around, community support and encourage participation in giving in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. So we are really excited, as I said, to be able to lift up your organizations and the important work that you're doing right now. We know how busy you are, and we know that resources are certainly tight. And so we wanted to be able to provide you with support to make this as simple to participate in as possible and to remove as many barriers to participation as possible. So with that, we had the great fortune at the Community Foundation of being connected with Up Purpose. And they're a company that's committed to helping nonprofits deliver high quality content to the right people using the right channels at the right time. And they actually donated their time and their staff to create a variety of resources for you to use on your social media channels and through your e-newsletters as part of this Giving Tuesday Now campaign. And you should know that the individuals who are working at Up Purpose have wonderful Iowa connections, and some of them actually grew up in Iowa, and so they really were motivated to see all of your organizations succeed, and their hearts were certainly well placed in this project. So it was, in a time of challenge, certainly an uplifting process and project to work on, knowing that they wanted the best for all of you. So we thank Up Purpose for their support. And with that, I'm going to have Barb advance to the next slide. So Up Purpose has created content that you can easily customize. They've created a series of posts, and you can see those samples in front of you here. They have created images and sample copy for Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram and Facebook stories, and they've also created email copy. So what you see here is examples of the work they've done as if it were placed on the Community Foundation's channel. So just know that that's there for example's sake right now. You can see the samples of the copy that can all be customized. You can also see the images that can be customized. So you can insert your name, your logo, swap out the image if you choose. Otherwise, that image that's there is fine to use. And then you can also edit the copy, but it's all there ready for you to jump on board with and start using on May 5th. And they were actually generous enough. They created content to be used a week prior to Giving Tuesday now, which is actually tomorrow. And then they created a series of posts and e-newsletter content to use day of, so on Tuesday, May 5th. So we hope that this means that you will have assets at your disposal that are easy to use and easy to customize, and want to be able to share with you a bit more about how to do that if we advance to the next slide. So on this slide, you can see the different templates that are available based on the different social media channels. So you may have all of these channels, you may not, but the content is there and available for your use. You also don't need design software to be able to customize these. They're all PowerPoint files. So as long as you have basic Microsoft Office with PowerPoint, you will be able to make all the edits that you need and be able to download all of the files. So we hope that makes it simple for you and your team at this time when you're already so busy. We are also, as you can see here, incorporating a variety of hashtags into the campaign. So the national hashtag is Giving Tuesday Now, but we really want to localize this campaign. We know that we live in a generous community and we know that Greater Des Moines is a special place. So we've incorporated GIVEdsm into the campaign, and we've also incorporated into the copy DSM Strong. And so we're really excited to be able to take some of that local approach, and you can see that reflected in the state capitol, which is in the background of the images as well. So happy and pleased to be able to do that. I'm going to move into actually walking through how to customize the content. But before I do want to take a pause. And if there's any questions, Brianne, if there's anything you're seeing come through the chat, or if there's anyone who wants to put it into the chat now, I'd be happy to answer questions on the background of Giving Tuesday Now, or how we came to the point of having these ready to put into place before I walk through the step-by-step of customizing.
Sure. I haven't seen any come through quite yet, but I'm curious, Sarah, how, I think you mentioned, where are these going to be saved on our site, or where can they access them?
You bet. If you advance to the next slide.
Oh, as if on cue.
Yeah, perfect. So we do want to make these really easy to find. And so for those of you who've already visited our nonprofit resources related to COVID-19, they're on that page of our website, or you can find it at DesMoinesFoundation.org/COVID resources. And they are all in a Google file. So you will be able to, or a Google folder, excuse me. So you'll be able to download everything from there. And so I will be happy to walk through that process.
And I do see a question from Allison here in the chat. Do we know if Facebook will be matching donations again?
That's a really good question. I have not heard. If anyone knows that, please feel free to put a response into the chat function. I have not heard that one way or another at this time.
Okay. Yeah, and I think I can also do a little bit of searching as well to see, we might be able to get back to folks on that. So great question, Allison.
With that, I'm going to share my screen. So if you go to Des Moines Foundation.
Oh, it's just a second behind you.
No problem. If you go to DesMoinesFoundation.org/COVID resources, one of the first bullet points that is on that webpage is actually the information on with links about clicking to the Google folders to download materials. And so there's a creative brief located there. And that's really an overview that UpPurpose put together about all of the assets that they've created. And you might find it really helpful because it lays out the marketing plan for your team. All of those different pieces. So if you're looking for a Facebook post to post the week before. You'll find that in the creative brief with a link to the actual asset. The other link on that web page just takes you to the assets themselves. So it's a fast way to access what you need to get to, but both are excellent resources and both will get you what you need.
Couple questions coming in, Sarah. Sorry. I think Mary was asking, are we supposed to be seeing the website? You're actually seeing the assets in the PowerPoint as if you were to have downloaded that right now,
Yes,
correct?
yeah. So
So,
unfortunately, I'm not as tech savvy as I should be. And so I'm at what you will download as opposed to the website. Yes, good clarifying question.
and then Sam had a question. They can start with a teaser campaign tomorrow, all of the nonprofits,
Correct.
just on the
So Up
timing.
Purpose has built a teaser campaign, which would be social media posts for those channels as well as an e-newsletter. So please feel free to use that. The way that these are built as well, it might be up to your team. If you have the capacity to tease more than just tomorrow and you want to create copy, it's nice that you have some samples in here that you can work from and that you have images that you can continue to customize. So know that this is a marketing plan and an outline you can use ready-made, but we know that you'll want to make your own edits to those. And so feel free, based on what you have the capacity to do, to change that up or to use these things in different ways that make sense for your organization. We would welcome and look forward to that. We're just excited that we have a marketing plan in place for those that have more of a limited capacity that they can easily follow.
Thanks. I think the questions I'm seeing now are about registering or matching again with the Facebook campaign. So we'll be doing a little bit of research on that and sending out the information that we can find and trying to make that available to y'all with our recap message on this. So thanks. These are great questions.
Good. So on my screen, you can see a sample Facebook post. The way that these have been created, as I said, they're in PowerPoint and they're actually 3 different slides because the slides are meant to have the instructions of how to customize the post. So I'm just going to go ahead and walk through it, but know that in slide 2, you're going to see the instructions for Mac users and for Windows users. As a Windows user, I'm going to follow those instructions. So if I move on to the 3rd slide, I can easily delete this box, put my logo into place. If there's edits that you want to make on this, you're welcome to do so. They are text boxes, so it's easy to change. And then these files have all already been formatted for the social media channel that you are that they are designed for. They're optimized for that channel. So to export those, you simply go to File and then Export. You do have to change the file type so that it's not a PowerPoint file. So go to Change File Type and select a JPEG. That's going to work best for most on your team, and select Save As. Save the file on to wherever you'd like. I'm going to save it on my desktop here. Change the file name. This happens to be the week out image, so I'll put week out Facebook. Save. Now this is one thing that you'll want to know. Which slides do you want to export? I'm going to always select just this one. You don't necessarily need to export the instructions and the introductory slides. So just this one, and you're done. The file will be wherever you've saved it as a JPEG, so you simply have to upload it to your social media channels and it's ready to go. So as we talked about, we're really hoping that this provides you with resources that are helpful to you and save you time as you participate on May 5th at Giving Tuesday Now. And we build momentum around this day of giving where we know it's certainly needed. And we thank you for your participation. We are a community that certainly is better together. And the more that we can share our stories and the more that we can share the great work that we're all doing in the nonprofit sector, the more momentum that we can build. So I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint at this time. And I thank Barb Hobson for her skills to be able to bring that back. We do want you to know that this work that you're doing, whether it's customizing these posts or creating your own, the Community Foundation is here to support you as we try to rally our community and build momentum. So we are working with local media to spread awareness for the day and really try to make this into a community-wide day of giving. We will also, as the Community Foundation, we will not be promoting ourselves, we will be promoting GiveDSM. So with that, I'm gonna open a quick hashtag, or excuse me, a quick poll. Just to give a sense from those that are on the call, how familiar is your organization with GiveDSM? So not at all, aware but not yet posted a project, or aware and have posted a project.
I'm not seeing it come up on my end. Are others seeing the polling? I have different privileges. So if somebody could let me know in the chat box, or Sarah, can you see, are people able to
I
respond?
can see the
Well,
polling.
look at that. They're like,
Guys, it's not
Brian.
very often that I can see things on Zoom that Brianne cannot. So this is a big day for all of
Oh,
the
I'm
foundation.
handicapped on this.
So
Okay.
it does look like most of those joining us on the call do have a level of familiarity with GiveDSM, but just as a friendly reminder, GiveDSM is a website, givedsm.org, where nonprofits can post projects that they are seeking funding or support for in order to share more broadly with our community. And so organizations can put up timely funding needs, ongoing needs, or capital campaigns. One thing I do want you to be aware of is that Brianne and her team have added a COVID-19 area of interest. So donors can search specifically for COVID-19 related needs. So that might be a fit for some of you as well. But at the Community Foundation, that is the message that we will be promoting on Giving Tuesday, is to encourage our community to go to GiveDSM, so that in addition to finding out about causes that they care about and that they've supported, we certainly want to encourage that, but they can find out about other needs of the community on GiveDSM. So make sure that if you have a project you've been considering putting on GiveDSM, that you get that added in advance of May 5th. Or if you just want to make sure that what you have on GiveDSM is up to date and ready to go for that day, please feel free to reach out to our team about that.
Yes,
Brianne,
and I
anything
do.
you'd add?
Well, I do see a question in here that somebody thought they'd posted, but recently couldn't find it. Claudia, sometimes those do expire. So, like Sarah said, if it's listed with an expiration date in the past, those automatically drop off. So now's a great time to just go in and maybe refresh those general ongoing projects and funding needs, and then to add new projects. So this is a question from Sarah. How do we post our organization on GiveDSM? We'll send in our follow-up message, one of our colleagues can create an organizational profile for your organization. And then I also recently recorded a video that just kind of walks through the site and the different components you'll need before you post a project to it. So it's a separate site and a separate login from our Manage My Grants on the Community Foundation's site. You would need separate privileges to do that. So we'll make sure that everybody who's participating today knows where they can go to create a login if you don't already have one. Great question. Thanks, Sarah.
Brianne, are there any other questions before we move into our slide about other social media content creation tools that you could potentially use?
I don't see any yet, but keep them coming in, everybody.
Good. So with that, Barb, we'll have you advance to the next screen, and I will hand off to Brianne to provide a little bit more context about what we have featured here.
Sure. So we did a session earlier in January about social media content and different platforms and strategies that you could use. We worked with Chris Snyder, who's a faculty at Drake University, to present that. And in our follow-up, we will include some additional platforms that Chris had recommended to that, that training group. I think a few of you who are on today's call were in that session as well. but one that we really love is Canva. I don't know if we can use the raise hand tool or something like that in the reactions. If you have used Canva, go ahead and give us a thumbs up. That's a really wonderful platform for creating very professional looking imagery without needing, InDesign or some of those very expensive tools. So these are a few of the other platforms that Chris had recommended. And, they're everything from Canva to, video editing kinds of tools, so that you can even just use your iPhones to create compelling videos, a color story that can kind of really boost the different saturations of your images. So it's like filters that make them look professionally edited. And so we'll be sending out this list and some links to these various free or very low cost tools, so that you kind of have those in your toolbox when you're creating this content.
Good.
And I see a note in
Sorry if
here
we get
from Leslie. They use Pictou Chart and it's similar to Canva. So that's great.
the one thing I would add is that we are certainly in a unique period of time where I think our technology has gotten to the point where we can produce some really professional looking things using a variety of different resources. But at this point in time, authentic and perhaps not as polished content is going to work just fine. So don't stress if you're creating content right now and you think, oh gosh, this doesn't look as nice as something that I would normally put out. The world is understanding, and everyone is trying to do their best. And there's a lot of people in our community who've become at-home videographers, perhaps for our organizations, that didn't know that that would be a skill
Sure.
set they'd be developing.
Well,
So
and that's a great callback, Sarah, to the conversation we had at Community Circle Conversations this past week. We were talking a lot about kind of external marketing. And if you weren't a part of that conversation, I see again many familiar names from our Wednesday morning meetings, but those are also on the COVID-19 resources page, the recordings. So if you wanted to go back, Jeff White gave a presentation from Flynn Wright. There's two with the the Flynn in them, and so I want to make sure I have it right. But Jeff White gave a great presentation kind of talking about what expectations are around around social media and kind of with your donors right now. I did see a question and wanted to get to Molly's question about hashtags that we're using as a community, Sarah. Is it Better Together DSM? Is it what are we using for the Day of Giving?
yes, so Up Purpose really did a great job of incorporating the 3 different hashtags that are being used locally on that day within the content. So I hope that you'll be able to reflect on that and it'll be really seamless. But the hashtags that we're using, Giving Tuesday Now is the national hashtag. Better Together, or excuse me, not Better Together, that's the Community Foundation's hashtag that just rolls off my tongue way too easily. GiveDSM is the second hashtag, so hashtag GiveDSM. And then the third is DSM Strong. That's really been a great point of connection for our community during this time, and so we want to continue to build momentum around that. I know I just said it, but I would stress again, Up Purpose did such a wonderful job in that content development of incorporating all of those different hashtags, and I hope you'll agree as you review that to make it similar.
Mm-hmm. And I think, on our organizational pages, we can be sharing all of our content, but I think I challenge each of us personally, to search those hashtags on your own personal Twitter accounts or, in various formats, and then share and like each other's content. I think that's another great part of being part of a network is how are we working to lift each other up? And the Community Foundation obviously is going to be lifting up kind of the holistic community efforts, but as individuals supporting the sector, we can go in and really like and share and contribute to different organizations on an individual level too. So did we want to open it up at all, Sarah? I know we're actually cutting close to our time here, to have anybody share something that's been working really well for them. And do we have a in the last 5 minutes or so, or did you have anything else you wanted to add?
I think that'd be great. If anyone has things that have been really successful that they'd be willing to share with the group. We know that communications plans have had to shift dramatically and quickly, and there's been so much good work. I'm so proud of our community and our nonprofit sector. So if there's anything that you would want to share broadly with the group, we would welcome that.
And I know many are on mute, and so if you wanted to type it in, we can unmute you, or let us know how you'd like to share. Okay, so Sam says, just thanks for our leadership. I mean, I know we're not using the Better Together hashtag for this, but I mean, we truly believe it. So Giving Tuesday has a bunch of materials too, Mary is sharing. So, I mean, use those assets that are already prepackaged for you when you can. There are a lot of opportunities to, tailor them to your organization. So that's a great share, Mary. Thank you.
Good.
Okay, and then Mary also shared in the chat box here that Google Drive. Is that, I'm assuming that would be the Google Drive for the Giving Tuesday now. Great. Wonderful. Well, I mean, I guess we might be able to leave a few minutes early. So if you haven't had a chance to get out into the sunshine yet today, take advantage of these 4 minutes. We'll give you back, and I know I will certainly be looking at what everybody is doing and sharing for Giving Tuesday now, and trying to lift up myself as much as I can too. So thank you. And then many of you will see you on Wednesday for community circle conversations. If you're not familiar with those events, those are weekly times to connect with other nonprofit leaders in the sector. It's free, and we have the registration on our website. So you can go ahead and join us. We'll be talking about financial scenario planning this coming week, and we do have a recording on some marketing strategies from last week up as well. So thank you so much, Sarah, for all you've been doing to coordinate with a purpose and to get these assets out there for our community. And we will look forward to talking with y'all later. Good luck and happy Giving Tuesday week, I guess, pre-week.
Yeah, happy Giving Tuesday, everyone. Thanks so much for all you're
Bye.
doing.
Thank you.